Hello everyone, welcome to another video. And in this video, we are going to talk about chapter number 19 from the book Psychology of Money, written by Morgan Housel. And this chapter is going to be a summary of all the previous chapters that we have discussed in this video series. And we're just going to go through them again and basically kind of like reinforce them. So what we have learned so far, right? But before we do that, there is a story about a man named Clarence Hughes, and this story basically highlights about uh, it basically highlights like when it comes to listening to other people's advice, um, how much you should probably listen to it, and how much of your own thinking actually goes into making the decision, right? So Clarence Hughes, uh, in 1931, he was in a lot of pain, a lot of dental pain. So he goes to a doctor, and the doctor puts him in anesthesia. And then he wakes up 16. Then he wakes up from the anesthesia, and then he has 16 less teeth, and then his tonsils were also removed basically. And then he later dies because of the surgery complications, right? So later his wife actually sues the dentist, and she doesn't sue the dentist because of the procedure that the dentist has done, but rather she sues the dentist for the fact that the dentist didn't ask for the consent of the patient, of Clarence Hughes, before doing the procedures, right? So the case went on for a long time, and then one of the courts basically came to a decision, and they said that the doctors, when they are operating on someone, then they need a bit of freedom to to do the best job that they can do actually, right? And this was usually the case for most of the history, where the doctor's job was to basically fix the patient. They were not really concerned about how they are going to fix the patient, but rather they just have to fix the patient, right? But in the last 50 years, the focus has basically switched from treating the disease to treating the patient now. So these days, when you go to the doctor, they listen to you, of course, about your problem, and then they usually come up with multiple treatment plans. And those treatment plans also take into consideration about how you feel about those particular treatments and which one will probably suit you the best, right? Um, accord, and on the same topic, um, where where we started to listen to the patient's side as well. Um, there is one author who had a big part to play in that. His name is Katz, and he said that medicine is a very complex profession, and as it is a very complex profession, so are the interactions between the doctors and the patients, and we should probably pay attention to those interactions because they are complex. So we have seen how medicine now requires the interactions between the doctors and dentists and the patients now, right? And the same thing is true actually about financial advice as well. Um, there is no one that can actually tell you what to do with your money, because they don't know what you want, why you want it, and when do you want it actually, right? So they don't know you. They don't 100% know you. It's, and in the end, it's actually up to you to make those decisions. But despite that fact, there are some universal truths. Even when it comes to the doctors and the dentists, there are some universal truths. They know about the disease, about the patients. Um, that cannot be Those truths cannot be neglected actually, right? And the same is true for the finance as well. And these truths, when it comes to financial advice, we have discussed in the previous videos. and now we are going to just quickly summarize those in this one as well. So we're going to go in chronological order of the chapters. So the first one, if you remember, was it's never as bad as it looks, no matter the situation. If you find something to be working right, then you should be humble about that. You should show humility in that scenario. And whenever things do not go your way, then have a little bit of compassion for yourself in that case. The second point is to appreciate the power of luck and risk. Um, and when you appreciate that, when you know that your decisions only will not affect the outcome, then it can basically give you a bit of freedom on the things that you can actually control. The third point is about saving money. And the author says, as we saw in the previous videos, save money. You don't need a specific reason to save money, just save money. And the way you save money is by reducing your ego. And by reducing your ego, or you could say that saving money is basically the gap between your ego and your income. So the smaller the gap, the more money you're going to save. Um, and the way, and when you save money, of course, you're going to make wealth, and wealth can be made by suppressing what you need, what you think you need right now, by suppressing that and saving it for to have more options, and saving it to have more options in the future, basically. Going on to the next point, it's, uh, it's about managing money. And the author says that you should manage your money in a way that helps you sleep at night. So for some people, sleeping at night, the thing that can help them sleep at night probably is to get high returns on their investments. For some people, it's probably the comfort knowing that they have invested in a low risk commodity. So everybody has their own preferences. Figure out your preference and figure out the preference that helps you basically sleep at night. And the next point is to increase your time horizon when it comes to investing, because longer time horizon basically has the power to make little things grow really big, and also make really big mistakes fade away over time. And going on to the next point, um, we should be okay with being wrong most of the times, because according to the author, and as we have seen before, you can be wrong half of the time, and then you can still end up making a fortune. So you don't need your whole portfolio to give you high returns. You just need um, one or two things in your portfolio to work really well for you to make a good amount of money, actually. Moving on to the next one, and I think this is probably the most important one, according to my personal preference when it comes to this book, and that is to use your money to get control over your time. And once you have control, then you can decide what you want to do, when you want to do it, and with who you want to do it. And that is the biggest dividend that you can have when it comes to uh, money. Moving on, always be nice, less flashy. You think that buying fancy cars and fancy watches will give you respect and admiration, but that's not the case. You're just doing it for yourself. What will probably give you respect and admiration is being kind and humble. And again, just save your money. You don't need a specific reason to save money, because life is very unpredictable. And when unpredictable things happen, then it's good to have some money saved on the side so you can actually deal with it. And then we have to pay the cost for all of these things. And the first thing is to be aware that there is going to be a cost when it comes to investing. So you have to define that cost, and you have to be willing to pay for it. And usually these costs are uncertainty, doubts, fears, um, and you have to deal with them. These are the prices when it comes to investing. And then one another important point is the room for error. Always have room for error. Is basically the gap between what you want to be true and what you need to be true to have like a comfortable future. So increase that gap, and then you will be fine. And that gap will also give you the endurance to basically be in the game in the longer run. That will eventually help the compounding on your investments to work. And yeah, moving on, avoid extreme decisions, financial decisions, because the more extreme your decision is, the harder it's going to be for you to go back basically, and it's going to be more regretful because it was already at the extreme, right? And always take calculated risks. Don't go for blind risks basically. And always in the end, play your own game. You don't know the motives or the plans of someone else, so it's not really smart to follow some other person's investment strategy. Think about your own game and be as less influenced by other people as possible. So these were all the points, all the main points from this book that we have summarized just now. Ideally, we could finish this video series on this chapter, but there is one more chapter which basically is about the author's financial strategies, like how he invests, Morgan Housel. And then we're also going to be looking into that. There are going to be probably 2 more videos, and then we will be done with this book. Hopefully you have enjoyed it so far, and then I will see you in the next one. Ciao.